Well, the Trump administration is suspending the green card lottery program that allowed the shooting suspect into our country in the first place. DHS Secretary Noem announcing, quote, "At President Trump's direction, I am immediately directing the USCIS to pause the DV1 program to ensure no more Americans are harmed by this disastrous program." Let's bring in Tommy Pigott, the State Department's principal deputy spokesperson. Tommy, is the State Department also looking into this guy's background and you know what it is that first of all, how he got here and what motivated him?
Well, Secretary Rubio has also directed the indefinite pause of the diversity visa program for the simple reason of we need to figure out what happened, if there were vetting deficiencies that occurred here, and make sure those are addressed, that something like this never happens again. And that's living up to this commitment that we have here at the State Department from day one of this administration, to treat every single visa decision as a national security decision. We take that incredibly seriously, and we are constantly re-examining our vetting procedures to make sure that we have the most robust vetting procedures possible.
The D1 program allows, what, 500 people a year to come in from countries that normally don't send a lot of immigrants to the United States? Is that how it works?
Well, it's part of this broad array of several different visa categories that have existed, and part of what we're doing here is addressing each one in turn and making sure we have the vetting procedures that are appropriate for each. Each one of these visas is a case-by-case basis, but it's important that we have procedures, safeguards, criteria that are used by consular officers when judging these visas and making sure that each visa is only given to those that we're confident will not pose a national security threat, will not break our laws, will not break the terms of their visa.
Well, putting a pause in this program might seem to some like an overreaction, but this is not the first time that one of these people who came to the United States on a D1 visa has turned killer. There was that rampage back in 2017 when an ISIS supporter rammed his truck into a bunch of people on a jogging trail in New York City. That guy was a D1 visa holder as well, Tommy.
Well, when we see something like this happen, we need to make sure that we react appropriately, and part of that is examining the visa procedures in place. And while we're examining those procedures, we need to pause that program to make sure that if there are deficiencies, that those deficiencies don't remain while we're still processing these visas. I think the American people, when they see something like this happen, want us to take a pause, want to look at this with careful consideration, and then move forward. This is a program that the president has opposed for a very long time. And fundamentally as well, when we're looking at visas in general, we cannot have an era of mass migration. We need to have policies in place that put the American people first. So we're taking pauses across visa categories, suspending different visa issuances for countries where we have screening deficiencies, for example. We're taking this incredibly seriously at the State Department.
There were about 95,000 visas revoked by the U.S. State Department in 2025. 8,000 of them international students. What does that say about the international student visa program in this country?
Well, at all of these visas, what we're looking at here is a standard of, are they breaking the term of their visa? Do they threaten national security? Are they committing crimes when they're here in the country? So 95,000, the three leading categories there are for assault, DUIs, and theft. Bottom line here is we are not going to have people here on visas that drive drunk on our streets, that assault our people, or that steal from our stores. We're not going to allow it. And if we have situations with student visas, for example, where students here on those visas are promoting terrorism or breaking our laws, that is grounds for revocation. A visa is a privilege. It is not a right. And that's what it means to have an America First visa policy.
You know, when we just heard from Peter Morisi, an economist who says America needs immigration, but we need to bring in people who bring skills, whether it be, you know, as a house framer or a nuclear physicist. You got to bring in people who have skills. The idea of just letting people into the country because they come from countries that don't get represented in America very much seems a little odd.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And we're talking about going from an era in the last administration where we had hundreds of thousands of people coming into this country every single month, either legally or illegally. You cannot sustain that type of program. Hundreds of thousands of people coming into this country every single month. and assume there's safety there, assume we have the proper vetting criteria. As the Secretary has indicated, that type of volume, it's often impossible to have that type of vetting criteria that the American people expect. So we're putting an end to the era of mass migration. We're going to make sure that we have an America First visa policy, that we're taking national security incredibly seriously. And fundamentally, visa security is border security. Of course, we think of the southwest border when we're talking about border security, but we need visa policies that are also contributing to that border security and not allowing people into this country that are going to break our laws, abuse our system, or violate the terms of their visa.
Yeah, because visa overstays are a huge part of the illegal immigration problem. Tommy Pigott.
100%, yes.